Okay, so this is my Mars base. I'm going to start with the opening. This is the entrance into the base, and I'll talk about all the aspects after the tour. This is the airlock. Now, these are the little packs that go on your back with oxygen, and these are the funny little helmets. This goes down into the base, and here was supposed to signify basically like a wall of buttons that you could press, which would do different things. Down here you'll have a mine, which I'll get to soon. This is just a spacesuit that I kind of wanted to show what I did to it. It's basically just Minecraft iron armor. And then with the little glass helmet. And then this is the entrance into the base. You have more areas to work. This is supposed to be a computer. I know it isn't one, but with Minecraft they don't have everything, so I kind of have to improvise. So that's what it is with your little mouse and whatnot. On this side, same thing. This is supposed to be buttons, but they're note blocks. This is the first living quarters. Each one's supposed to be a double bed, but bunk bed. But you're not able to do that in Minecraft, so I just had to do blue, and I would tell you. In here, you have your little office. This is also another type of computer because you have your little screen there. This is a medical center. And then you have lockers with more spacesuits. Down here is actually how they create oxygen for the base. So basically what it does is it takes the Martian atmosphere, and I'll show you that in a second. So there's these pipes here, see, the two on the outside, that takes the Martian atmosphere and it'll suck it in. And then it will go into this funnel, which is basically like a big purifier until it's just oxygen. And here's supposed to signify like the process, and here's the other end, and then these are going to be the air tanks where they're stored. And in here you have your little control room. And here's a science lab, and I tried to kind of represent what I wonder what would happen on Mars. Now, all this is not exact, like maybe I wouldn't care about what happens in copper, but instead like titanium or something. So here I kind of wonder what would happen to minerals on Mars. Here I wonder what would happen to certain plants on Mars. Here I wonder what would happen to certain species of wildlife, but I just had to put in fish. And here, you have your little red line. It doesn't necessarily mean I care what would happen to human bones on Mars, because I think we already know that. This is just kind of supposed to signify something a bit special. And so that was kind of the only thing I could think of. Moving on into here. Moving on into here. I'll put that in for light. Moving on to here, you have your little control center with a bunch of computers, and this is supposed to signify one of those like smart tables, or you might like, I don't know, it's a map or it's a this or that. I'm not 100% sure on what everything could be because I don't know everything about Mars, so I couldn't say this is exactly for that. And then in here you have your little workout. This is supposed to be the little step thing, the little steps. And you have your little control panel. Here is supposed to be weightlifting. These are supposed to be just kind of weights stacked up. And here's supposed to be a treadmill where you can be kind of run. It's not the best, but it's what I could work with. And then in here you have your greenhouse. I don't want to plant plants because that would take about 4 real life hours to like actually grow into something not other than seeds. So I didn't really have time to do that, but you can clearly see you would have a fair-sized garden for the Martian astronauts. Now I'm going to talk a bit about the design of the building. Oh, here. Here is for your rockets. Right here is like the red line, like do not cross unless you want to go to a rocket. And then here you have your little control area. And then you have another rocket, or another red line, which is basically you're entering the rocket. And then I wanted to go above and beyond with this. So even though you probably don't see it down here, I made a little little blast radius with the yellow and the red. And then here all the smoke would come out of there. Let's see. So you can see all of it would just shoot out into here. And then this is like a little entrance. Now you might notice water here, like a huge like this. I'm not saying Mars has that. It's just this is the biome, if you will, that was closest to Mars, so I had to do that. Now moving on into mine number 1. I kind of wonder what would happen, and then so you can clearly see you have nothing crazy because we don't exactly know what's on Mars. Yeah, I didn't want to put in any materials because we don't exactly know what's in Mars. But this is kind of little number 1. And then now moving on to the architecture. I tried to make a lot of it underground. There's some things I couldn't, or were partially. Like this, it goes underground, or this is mainly underground. Oopsie. And there is a bit under, but I'll show you that later. And then this I didn't really get a choice because I wanted it to like get as much sunlight as possible to go into the crops. So I kind of made this dome shape. Here, I wonder what would happen to water. So this, it's exposed to a light filter, and this is exposed to pure glass, and the water in the middle is exposed to nothing. This is actually like funnels where Martian atmosphere would go in and into our little livable oxygen creator. This is the Rover. This is the Rover Garage, and so I just had to put in these doors for like practical use to be able to get in and out. But this would generally be a garage door. You have your Rover here, which is tried to make it realistic. It has the big wheels. It has the 3D glass cage. It has all the lights. You can see the little light, and then in the back has the little oxygen tanks to hold, and then some extra lights for visibility during nighttime. I have the little step here. And another thing I wanted to note was that Minecraft isn't perfect. Like this, I might want to be a tiny fixture, but like I can only work with things that I have. So it's not perfect, but I'll try to tell you what I meant by everything. Like this, I meant to be a computer, and then you have your storage here. You have some more main like text, and then you have your little podium. And then here you can control the rover. You actually can't control the rover, but I thought that's where you would do it. And then I also tried to make this like architecturally appealing and not just make it a big black block. So in here you can tell you want to get some sunlight on the rover, and of course, and then here's the roof. Surround it. Now, you might be noticing these are like proximity sensors almost, which do exist. They're not out of science fiction movies. Now, I'm not saying this is to tell when the Martians invade, but this is more for scientific purposes, like if a radiation storm hits, like how much is the radiation? Does it vary? Or dust storms or anything like that. And then here you might notice this is supposed to be a flagpole. It would, since I think it would be best if this was a like a international cooperative effort, I would put like a little world flag up there. But I can't because that doesn't exist. But I can always tell you. This is to get information across, and of course at the tippy top you have a lightning rod just in case. So whoopsie. Thunderstorm. So I'll get back to that, but you can actually see the lightning rod in action.